So glad you all are here. There's so many familiar faces and names in here, and some new folks too. We're so glad you join us. We do this every Wednesday afternoon, evening, and it is a highlight of our week for sure. So yeah, today we'll be talking about clarifying our dream jobs and working towards discussing what we want in our next role. So just to give us a bit of a frame for our conversation today, we will be spending some time brainstorming, sharing, debriefing. You'll have plenty of time for quiet reflection as well. So that's a big part of our coaching process in these group coaching sessions, is to create space that we may not have at other times to do some thinking. We'll also have some time with some partners to do some debrief and some conversations. We know that not everyone can come off of their camera, or they might not be in a situation where they can come off mute as well. So we'll give you some options when that time comes as well. But we hope that you'll stick around for that part. We know that most folks find that to be really helpful time working with our colleagues in this space. But yeah, our hope is that you will spend some time thinking more about the circumstances that brought you where you are right now, and thinking about and envisioning your next opportunity, what your priorities are, really seeking clarity on what matters to you. Chances are you've been doing some thinking about that, but we want to ask you some questions that we've created and gathered to help you in that process as well. And really, clarity and intention are words we use frequently around here to help you think strategically about what's next for you as well. We'll use the word dream job a few times, which is a tricky term, right? We don't love that one necessarily, because it assumes that there is a perfect job out there that is great, the great one for you, right? However, when we think of it, we try to help you hone in on what matters most to you and what would be the best fit for you, your negotiables, your non-negotiables, and where you might be going on this next journey as well. So dream job, hold that loosely, that term as well. But all in all, the goal of our session today is to help you come away with some ideas and some clarity on what's important to you for your next options as well. So you can leverage that on your search as well. If you don't currently have a piece of paper and a pen, or a document open on your device, we invite you to grab one of those. You'll be spending some time, and we'll ask you to write some things down during our session today as well. With that, we're going to keep moving forward. I have a few quick questions for you that Kate will help to drop in the chat as well. We always like to do a quick introduction around here, because we know it's a good chance for us to know where you're from, where you're coming from geographically, and in your situation as well. But we also find that many individuals make some connections geographically or industry-wise as well. So you can keep an eye on that, and maybe you can chat with others as well. So a couple quick questions. Your name, where you're located geographically right now, your last or current role that you have been in, and where you're hoping to go with your next opportunity. And if you are still undecided or exploring about what's next, you can write that too. So we'll give you a minute here to add those things, and Kate put that prompt in the chat as well. So that's just your name, where you're located, your last or current role, and where you hope to be next in your career, what kind of an industry or situation you'll be in. Great. Pennsylvania, not sure where to go from there. All right. Don, yay, I'm from Seattle originally as well. AmeriCorps, work for an NGO maybe in the future. Thank you. Hi, Ed. Great. Economist, financial analyst. All right, thank you. Cynthia, welcome. Strategist. Yeah, having a hard time catching up. Thank you for putting this information. This is so helpful to see this. Hopefully you'll keep an eye on who's here as well, if there's any connections that you see as well. Jessica, thank you. Nora, yeah, transition out exploring. Thank you very much. Isaac, welcome. Detroit, okay, looking to grow. Thank you. Hi, Joy. Undecided, you've been a client manager. Okay, great. Bola. Okay, nonprofits, perfect. Okay, exploring as well. Lots of explorers. This is great. You're in the right place. We're glad you're here. This is why we do this. You're all exploring in some way, but glad you're here. You don't have to have it all figured out today. Promise. And Maya, thank you. Strategic Communications and Healthcare. Eve, thank you. Hi, Kim. Okay, Not sure, but you've done a lot, Kim. Thank you. That you have some lot to add. Great. Tisha, entrepreneurship, perfect. Emma, thank you. Exploring, exploring, exploring. Great. You're in the right spot. Do we have some tools for you today? Heather and other Ed, thank you. Humor there. Interesting in being a park ranger. Okay, wonderful. This is awesome. We meet such amazing people. So we'll spend this hour together thinking and talking, giving you a lot of opportunities to do some brainstorming. Again, as we said, you'll have some time to chat with some of these great folks as well. We'll put you in some groups a little later if you can join in that. Denise, thank you. Glad you're back. And we will give you a chance to do some thinking with your colleagues and strategizing as well. So this is all meant to be for you. So we invite you to be engaged. It's group coaching, so we're not able necessarily to dig in on each person's specific situation, but hopefully you'll hear some themes and connect the dots with some other folks' situations as well, and the things that we offer to you as well. All right. Kate, can you please drop the tool in the chat? We have a tool that we use, and you can use that, but we'll also in a second have on the screen, we'll have a few questions for you to brainstorm about. So this will be your first reflection time to be thinking about that dream job concept, right? So as you're doing that in just a moment here, when those come up, you can be on or off camera, but invite you to use that tool and to write down some thoughts on your own document, or if you've already printed that format, you can. But Kate's put that in the chat, and then we'll have a few questions coming on the screen in just a moment here too. So we'll spend about 5 minutes quietly. So this is your space, your time that we're hopefully gifting to you right now to do some thinking about those dream jobs. So the questions we'll be asking you are, what kind of work environment allows you to thrive? So this is your chance to brain dump, drop this on the paper. No idea is a bad paper, right? Bad idea as we brainstorm. So what kind of work environment allows you to thrive? So the geographic maybe, or the pace, the context, what skills or talents do you want to use? And then what type of work holds your interest most? That is, do you work well under pressure? Do you need routine? Those sorts of things. And what do you get excited about? So what fuels you or gets you most excited? And it can be personally or professionally. That can help gather you more information. So you could even include things like music or hobbies or learning something new as well. So truly, we want you to do some brain dumping on your document or your device. I'll stop talking in a moment here. This is just your space and time. We'll set a little timer on our end, and we'll call you back in just a few minutes here. If you have any questions, you can drop those in the chat or to Kate or I privately as well. So I'll set a timer. Please, you'll see those questions on the screen. Take about 5 minutes to brain dump about those, all right? Thank you. One other question we have on the screen that I didn't name earlier is what's been challenging for you in a work environment in the past. That's an important piece as well to talk about as well. Great, thank you so much. And just a reminder, this is something you can and should continue to be doing. We're just giving you some tools that you can use at other times as well. Today is just one piece of the puzzle for you as you continue to seek to clarify your ideal job attributes as well. So a quick reminder before we move to our next step. So hold on to that list you just wrote, or what you just doodled, some of you as well. A reminder about our session's goal today, right? We want to help you to be able to clarify what's important to you in your future career, right? By defining the characteristics of your dream job, okay? So with all the words you just wrote down, all the things you wrote, we want to invite you to do a little bit of prioritization or marking down what's most important to you. So you don't have to put these in any order yet. That'll come in a minute here, but invite you to circle or mark the top 10 things that are most important to you when you think about your future work. So you can look for themes and patterns in there, or just the top 10 or so things that you think are the most important, that are most valuable to you as you think about your future work, what matters most to you. So take about 3 minutes. If you need to do some rewriting or continue writing as well, but we invite you to circle or mark at least 10 things that are the most important to you as you seek to prioritize what's next. So take a good 3 minutes. All right, thank you so much. Again, no need for anxiety here. If you feel like you didn't get to your top 10, you'll have time, you'll have some group time in a little bit, and you can always do some more on your own time as well. The next thing we're going to invite you to do is take a minute to prioritize those, right? So we want you to think, if you could rank those 10 or so things, what are the most important things? What are the biggest, most important things for you as you think about your next role? So ranking from 1 to 10, 1 being highest, 10 being lower in those top 10 things as well. So I invite you to do that for a few minutes. And there's a few questions on the screen again. Thanks, Kate. How did you rank those? How do you feel about ranking those after you do that ranking, right? Why are certain things more important than others? Which are necessary versus nice to have? You might do some delineation or highlighting differently of the ones as well. And then what does this list tell you about your career direction? So we're going to take another 5 minutes, rank those, and then you can answer these questions on your device or on your paper as well. And then in a few minutes after this, we'll lead you into a group session to talk with some of your colleagues about this. But this is your chance to rank them, really thinking about what is most important to you and helping you see clarity about what is most important to you in this search. So we'll give you 5 minutes here. All right, hopefully you have a start on your ranking of those top 10s. What we're going to do next, and for the next 15 minutes or so, for a good chunk, is breaking out into some breakout groups with a few colleagues. You'll be in groups of 3 or 4 as well. We know that not all of you can come off of mute for now, or off of or onto camera as well. So if you can't do those, we suggest that now might be a good time for you to depart. We've given you some tools to work with as you keep moving forward. And in these group sessions, or in these breakout groups, excuse me, we'll be just talking with our colleagues about ideas and get some feedback as well that might be helpful moving forward as well. So we invite you to stay if you can. If you need to drop off, we're going to put a few links in the chat here about kind of what's coming up for us as well. Next week, we're doing a session on building your networking pitch. And we'd love to have you there. We meet here every Wednesday afternoon. We also have a Facebook and Instagram group as well, if you'd like to join us there. And finally, we have a survey we'd love for you to fill out. And if you are sticking around, you don't need to go to these yet. We'll post these again later. But if you're leaving now, ask you to take just about 2 minutes to fill out a form so we can make these sessions better moving forward as well. So, all right, if you're sticking around, in just a minute, we're going to open up some breakout groups. And what we invite you to do during that time is to share a few of the things that you identified as your top things when you're looking into what's important to you in your next role. So we ask you to share a few of those things. You'll have, each of you will have about 3 to 4 minutes to share about those things. Think about how you can leverage those top 10 things in your search. What are things that you can be doing in the next short term as well to help you leverage those as well? So we always find that these small groups are helpful for folks in sparking ideas, sharing ideas, not for giving advice, but for offering feedback sometimes as well. So Kate, are you ready to open up those groups? Okay, 1 more minute. All right, so we invite you in just a second to join in those. After those breakout groups as well, we'll come back and we'll do some final debrief as well and give you a chance to share one last time. These sessions go so fast, we know, and one thing we'll offer is after we're done with our official session today too, we will offer about 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A about this topic or other topics as well. That's totally optional after the end of the hour as well. All right, and we'll give you some check-in information as well as the time goes on to know when it's time to switch to another partner as well. So, all right, so Kate, if you want to go ahead and open those up, friends, you should see in just a moment how you can join on your screen, how to join your group that we've invited you to. Kate, do you have any more instructions?
Nope, I'm just going to open the rooms now, and you should see a bubble pop up on your screen where you can join that room. And yeah, we'll see you in about 12 minutes.
We're going to move on. Our last thing of the day as our debrief before we do a little wrap up information as well is using a tool called Annotation here in Zoom to share a few of your reflections as well. So Kate, if you would pop that up and kind of explain how we use that, please, then we'll get going with sharing these ideas.
So on the slide here, if you all go to your sort of Zoom toolbar, there is something called Annotate. And if you click on Annotate, it defaults to draw, and there's an option to choose text, and that's what you'll want to choose. You can choose text, and then you can type directly on the slide on the screen. I've hidden the names, so it should all be anonymous. And so you can share freely. I will move things around so things aren't on top of each other. And if you're on your phone and can't access this tool, that's okay. You can type your thoughts into chat and I will add them for you. So that is a little bit about how to use Annotate. And if you see yourself starting to draw, that means you have to change to text. Okay,
So
that is all.
thank you, Kate. Let me see. Two things that you can, there's my screen. Two things you can do with this is how you can use your list moving forward, share that, or what's one thing you can do within this next week? What's a really actionable item that you can do in the next week with that list you've used to help you moving forward on clarifying even further, or some actions you can take. So either an action item or how overall you can use your list moving forward as well in this space. Great, a couple popping on there. Find jobs that more aligned with your list moving forward. Absolutely. There's a lot of ways you can do that. A lot of our sessions will talk more about that moving forward as well. Revisit your list weekly to keep clarifying priorities. Absolutely. Working on that to see what's changing for you. Maybe you reprioritize as well. Another thing we can do this week based on today's process is tweak my job search to actually look for the things that are really important rather than going by the certain experiences you have. Absolutely. Those don't have to be mutually exclusive, but looking for those together as well. Look into how to become an independent contractor, since all items point to that. Isn't it nice when you see connections and consistencies as well? So look for those connected pieces as well. Great, some more. Ask interview questions that has items on your list. Another thing you can do this week, talk to a friend about your list to see if they think it sounds like you. Absolutely. Find an aptitude test to help nail down where I might find alternatives with my skill set. Totally. This is great. Identify if I already have any of the things I want in my current job, just to make it feel more bearable while I'm searching. Absolutely. Looking to see what, as you clarify further, if your current job, if you have one, how that might align even more. This is great. Thank you so much for adding these in there. This is helpful for us to see some ideas that you have as well. So now that you've identified those as well, we invite you to take action this week, or use this list as you will, keep modifying it, use it however it's helpful for you. But like the person who typed in here, I like to share these lists myself when I work on these with someone, a trusted colleague, or a mentor, or a peer, or a partner who can help me think through these and help me think if it sounds like me too. So if that's helpful for you, we'd recommend as well. Okay, take note of the conversation, the phone interview tomorrow. Does this job align? Yeah, alignment is a word we use a lot. We've used it a lot today, but in our work, alignment is a helpful concept for many folks. Work on creative ways for me to sell a hiring manager my skill sets. Yeah, think about how you represent yourself and share your experience and who you are matters. We have some sessions on those as well. And it looks like in the chat here, we have be involved in more conferences and continue to keep getting excited for projects, not just for my resume, but personally. Yeah, individual growth, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your engagement. This has been a big group today, so glad you could join us and share as well. So we hope this has sparked something for you today too. As we always say, Kate and I love this work, and we love the weeks we have more reflection time. We see a lot come out of that. The weeks we have more conversation, a lot comes out of that as well. Kate, if you would take a screenshot of that, please, just so we can have it for our own list moving forward. We'll start wrapping up here. So we always try to keep on time and get you out of here as promised as well. We shared earlier some of those resources for wrapping up, but before we do that, I just want to encourage you to keep looking at these lists, keep identifying those dream pieces to your job, what is manageable for now for some of you, but also what you really want in that next role as well. There may not be the perfect job out there, but there are jobs that can absolutely fit and help you help you identify and find more life in the job that you have as well. So you'll see in our chat there, that Facebook group, we have a LinkedIn group as well. We have a survey. And also next week, we are excited to have another presentation, which will be about building your networking pitch, or how you communicate and share who you are to hiring managers or to interviewers as well. So we hope you can join us for that, and look for your email and for information about that. And Mary Angeles will also be sending out information about a copy of this session to give you more information if you want to revisit our topics from today as well. Darvis, it looks like you have your hand raised there. Yeah, what's up? We'd invite you to share if you'd like.
Yes, could you put that what is that back on the screen? I had just was able to just join back in because my phone died.
Oh,
and
man.
sorry, I had told, I think what was it, Denise, and who else was I in there? Was it Cynthia? But I wasn't able to really join too much today because I was I was in the midst of getting my car towed and stuff like that. So I was kind of but I tried to pay attention as much as I could. So
you're asking for us to put up the annotation? Is that what you're asking?
No, the last I took pictures of the screenshots of the other stuff. So I was with the whole, I was in the whole meeting, the meeting the whole time. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. In the meeting the whole time from the beginning, but I just didn't really listen to the audio, and but I was following the slides and stuff as well. And my phone had died right before I just got back into the house. So I was just trying to see that last slide that was just up. That's all.
Gotcha. Right.
If that's okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. The last slide that was up just now was the annotation slide with everyone's ideas and takeaways from the breakout groups. I will see what I can do to, because I saved a screenshot, so I can do that. If nothing else, Jarvis, I will make sure Mary Angeles has it and includes it in the follow-up email. Okay.
Okay.
I'll look for it now though to see if I can pull it up.
Thanks, Jarvis. Hopefully your car gets figured out too, man. Sorry to hear that.
No, that's all right. It was a pretty long day. It was a good day, but it was a long day in a lot of different ways. But I wish I could have joined in a lot more than like I normally do, but just couldn't today.
All good. Thank you. All right. So that's the end of our session today officially. We always try to honor that time. So thank you if you've joined us for this whole time too. If you'd like to stick around for a few minutes of question and answer about this topic or about other topics as well, you're welcome to stay around. Kate and I like to give about 10 minutes or so for that. And then you can ask some questions and head out too. So we invite you you can come off of mute or raise your hand if you'd like to. But if there's any questions that are top of mind for you about this topic or others, we'd love to hear them. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you.
Jarvis, I was able to find the screenshot and I just dropped it in the chat there.
Yeah, I got a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Ed. Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, just real quick. So I'm lucky enough to have a job interview tomorrow, phone interview, and just found out about it this morning. So got about 12 hours to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Just off the top of your head, this is a phone interview. This is not, this is with human resources. It's not with the technical people. It's for an economic consultant position. Knowing that, what would you say is the one question I absolutely must ask, and what is the one question I absolutely should not ask?
Oh man, I can give some thoughts on that, and Kate is always better than me at this stuff too. But obviously, there's no pat answer there. But always have a question or two, right? Obviously, you know that you're asking that too. Ed, as you think about that, what does this job interest you significantly? Like, what do you want to know? Like, what's one thing you do want to know about the work?
Well, I mean, I have a list of questions I usually ask, but I haven't had an interview for a while, so just kind of curious as to what the job search industry is kind of pushing for people to ask, if anything's changed, or especially with COVID and all that. I suppose one of the things I should ask is what's your vaccination protocol?
Sure.
I don't know if there's any real red flag questions to ask. I know you shouldn't really ask about hours or salary or anything like that on your first interview. But Well, let me ask you this. What is your best way to defer the salary discussion? Because I know all the experts say try as much as you can to defer the salary discussion because you don't want to put yourself in a range that is either too high or too low. And it always seems like every single time I get that question, I can never get it deferred. They always want either a number or a range.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really bother me too much, but at the same time, it gives them the advantage.
Yeah, so there's lots. I mean, it's changing, right? As you said too, and people ask it in all sorts of different ways. Kate, I don't know if you have an idea on this. I'm struggling to think of a really good one for that right now. Don wrote a suggestion in there to put it back on them and ask what the range they budgeted for the position. Yeah. So one thing I've seen, and I recently applied for a new job within my organization as well, and was very clear with my my salary requests and expectations as well. But in when I've talked with my other colleagues who are also career coaches, not being afraid to talk about what you're worth, right? What you know from your experience and from, if you've been doing some market research too, as well, both for your region and for similar jobs, it's okay to be clear and honest with what your expectations are. But you're right. You don't want to look tricky or like you're trying to avoid the question too much, right? Like transparency and honesty is important too. So have you done some of that research, Ed, about market value and other similar positions as well?
Well, for other interviews I have a spreadsheet where I take the average of 5 or 6 websites. I haven't done it for this job yet, but I have a pretty good idea what it might pay.
Okay.
But yeah, I always go in with extensive research on salary.
Of course. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Don. It looks like Don has a suggestion here as well.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah. So Ed, I always, it sounds like, and I've known you for a few weeks here in this session. You're a good researcher. You're a good thinker as well. Whatever you can do to show that you've done your research on the company, right? And we've talked about having you do some research on what the company's values are or mission statement is, showing that you are connecting to that question or to what their values are and what their priorities are can really help you shine. There's a lot of folks, surprisingly, in searches who don't highlight that as well. So if you can do that can certainly help as well.
If you were a hiring manager and you asked about my salary expectations, what would be more impressive to you? Saying, if I had to ask for a range, it would be like, okay, 65 to 75. Mm-hmm. Or would you be more impressed if I said, according to my research, the median or the average or a decent salary for this position would be $64,312. You know what I mean? Something really specific to show that I did just throwing out some arbitrary range. Mm-hmm. That would probably be, research, but at the same time, always seems like it's not really, you know what I mean? I've heard it from both sides.
Totally.
Some say give a range, some say give a specific number.
So what I'm seeing in the trends right now too is using a specific number. Using a specific number of connected to the research you've done, just as you said too. It doesn't have to be down.
The video is freezing on me.
Let's see there. I apologize. Let me try again. Yeah, so I'll end that and we'll maybe get to another person's questions as well real quick. But yeah, Ed, I'm seeing some research, people saying to use specific numbers based on your research you've done. And you can also say, with that, I'm also open to this, right? To this range as well. So really, most impressive to me is showing that you've done your research and that you're clear about, what you're worth.
Okay. Yeah. You're freezing up again. I'll cede the floor.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. All right. Any other questions we have today?
Good. I'll cede the floor. Thanks.
I have a question.
Thanks, Vanessa.
So thank you for the activity. It definitely helped. I'm in the world of community, nonprofit, social worky type of field. You're a little frozen now. I'm not sure if you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what I realized with my list was that the things I value are applicable to both career directions I want to go into. I guess my bottom line, and my question to you is, what other workshop do you recommend? My bottom line is what population to serve. So the working conditions and all of that that list that I created, it helps. But my bottom line is, do I want to help the community in the area of health education, or do I want to help the community in terms of working with college age students?
Mhm.
So when wondering about what population to serve in my career, what are some questions that I can ask myself? Or another similar workshop that I can attend.
We have a number of different sessions that come to mind, Vanessa, as well. Can you hear me? I know you were saying I was freezing up earlier.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. You know, we do have a session called, aligning your values with your career goals as well. That can help you think further maybe into that. Yeah, and also some career confidence, trying to think of like what matters most to you, right? As you think about the work that you do as well. So we have a number of sessions that are coming in the next few weeks and months here as well. Kate, can you think of other sessions off the top of your head about what might be of value to Vanessa's question?
Yeah, I mean, deciding, I mean, it's hard when you're torn and you have two passions and two populations that you really want to serve. And I think one of the activities that I do a lot with people is thinking about sort of not necessarily the population itself, but thinking about the sort of impact you want to have, and the end sort of impact that you're going to feel most fulfilled with, and which direction is going to take you down that path. So so one activity is called like two paths, right? And so you kind of imagine each path and the impact that each, picture yourself in each role and what that's going to look like, and what the impact that you're going to have might look like, and start to feel out what it is that that feels best to you, because it probably will come down to a bit of a feeling with regard to which population helps you feel most fulfilled. And I saw Darvis's comment of, can you do both, right? And I have been in a position of being able to work with students who are seeking degrees in healthcare, and so there sometimes are ways that you can bridge some of those and combine certain things, and seeing where that might be an opportunity could be helpful as well. But I think that's a really personal decision. So just giving yourself the time and space to think about it, and again, I would focus on the outcome that you want to have and the impact you want to have, and then kind of work backwards from that. Does that help?
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Vanessa, as I was also thinking too, as Kate was speaking, one thing we often recommend for folks too is networking, right? Having discussions with people who are in different fields, right? So if you can identify some folks in your immediate or second tier network that you could talk to that are maybe in those different pathways, just to ask questions, right? And to see what life is like in those roles for them, and what advancement opportunities could look like in those types of roles too. That can often be helpful, and if that's of interest to you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Well, pleasure to be with you all. Thank you for sticking around a bit. I'm sorry Ed left, but let's all be thinking good thoughts for Ed tomorrow with his phone interview. And if others of you have anything coming up, we sure want to cheer for you as well. So we hope to see you next week on Wednesday, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. But with that, we will close for the evening, and you can look for a wrap-up message from Mary Angelis in the next few days as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great night. We hope to see you soon.